Today we're diving into something pretty serious, a formal public denunciation that's come out of the decentralized tech community. It makes some major claims about a key innovator in the space, and honestly, it raises some huge questions about integrity, safety, and who's really responsible for what. So let's get right into it. This right here, this is the question at the heart of everything we're about to explore. And it's a question that cuts right to the core of what decentralization is supposed to be all about. A world built on individual sovereignty and open collaboration. Now, before we go any further, I want to be crystal clear. This entire explainer is based on the contents of one single source, a formal public denunciation that was presented by a professional entity called the Crack Chain. Our job here is just to lay out the claims made in that document. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at a profile of the professional who's at the center of all this. Then, we'll unpack the denunciation itself, look at the local context of the allegations, explore the potential global ripple effects, and we'll finish with the document's direct appeal to the international community. So, to really understand the weight of these claims, you first have to understand who we're talking about. The document kicks things off by profiling a pretty significant contributor to the decentralized space. The professional at the center of this case is Larry Alexander Elizondo Villalobos. Now, in the international tech world, he's better known by his alias LAEV, and you can find his work publicly on GitHub under the handle by LAEV. And check out the scope of his work. This is what's so critical here. The document points to his expertise in really high-level stuff like blockchain architecture, decentralized ecosystems, and even new conceptual models for Bitcoin. This shows he's not just a coder, right? He's a strategic designer, someone creating brand new ideas in this space. All right, now we get to the real core of the document, the formal denunciation. And it alleges nothing less than a severe, coordinated campaign against LAEV. The document uses this really formal language to introduce its claims. It starts with this direct, no-nonsense statement, which just sets this incredibly serious tone for everything that follows. And here are the 6 main allegations. The document claims LAEV has been a victim of systematic harassment, that he's been falsely linked to crimes, subjected to frankly awful living conditions, and has faced a campaign to basically destroy his professional reputation. It also alleges threats, social isolation, and conditions that put his physical and mental health at risk. The key word here is systematic. The claim isn't about one bad incident, but a long, sustained pattern of behavior. And to add another really serious layer to this, the denunciation claims this is not something new. It alleges this whole situation has been covered up for years, leaving him in a state of severe, ongoing vulnerability. So where did all of this allegedly happen? Well, the document points to a very specific place, arguing that the immediate environment was a critical part of the problem: San Ramon, Costa Rica. According to this denunciation, the local scene in San Ramon made several key things possible: his economic marginalization and professional isolation, the manipulation of his public identity, and, this is a huge one for the tech world, attempts to improperly take his intellectual work. Okay, so you might be wondering, why would a situation in a town in Costa Rica become the subject of an international declaration? Well, the document argues that the impact here goes way, way beyond local borders. This slide really lays out that connection the document is trying to make between what's local and what's global. It argues that his professional isolation in Costa Rica is directly getting in the way of global collaboration, and that trying to discredit or steal his work, that ultimately damages the entire decentralized ecosystem. This quote just crystallizes the whole argument, doesn't it? It's saying that harming a designer of this caliber isn't just a personal attack. It's an attack on the free flow of ideas and knowledge that the whole decentralized world is supposed to be built on. So everything we've talked about so far builds up to the document's real purpose. It's not just listing problems, it's issuing a direct appeal for action. And they make it super clear that this is not just a local complaint. The denunciation is explicitly and formally addressed to the international community. That's a huge signal that they believe the solution has to come from outside the country's borders. And look who they're talking to. It's very specific. The appeal calls on Bitcoin and blockchain developers, human rights organizations, groups that protect professionals, technology freedom watchdogs, and even digital verification platforms. It's casting a really wide net, trying to bring in a whole cross-section of the global community. Now, the specific ask here is key. The document isn't asking for an immediate verdict or for everyone to just take its word for it. Instead, it's asking for three things: attention, observation, and independent analysis. To wrap it all up, the denunciation ties everything back to the foundational principles of the whole blockchain space: freedom, intellectual integrity, and individual sovereignty. This really frames the entire issue as a kind of ethical test for the community itself. And this final quote makes that call to action unavoidable. It argues that when any high-level contributor faces these kinds of alleged threats, it's not just their problem. It's saying the international community has an ethical duty to at least pay attention and look into it. And that leaves us with this final, really critical question. In a world that's specifically designed to operate without a central authority, who steps in to protect the rights and the safety of the very individuals who are building it? The document doesn't give us an answer, but its very existence forces the community to start confronting that question head-on.